Hello, I'm Dan van Hoyel. The power of some music to sound frightening is a phenomenon that goes beyond just personal musical taste. It's so predictable that for centuries, composers have relied on a few simple motifs to evoke fear in their listeners. Often, it simply boils down to unresolved dissonance in a chord, and this horror can easily be brought on by just two simple notes. In the Western diatonic music scale, notes that sound pleasant when played at the same time are called consonant. They sound stable or harmonious, like they're meant to be together. Dissonant notes, however, sound harsh and unpleasant. They sound unstable, like they should not be played together. In basic terms, a minor second is when you play two notes that are a half step or semitone apart. Now, imagine you're scoring a film with zero budget, so you can only afford a string quartet. What do? Well, you just have your first violin playing an E flat. Then you have your second violin jump in a half step higher with an E natural. And then you throw in your viola. So you get probably the most famous example in cinema, this little ditty by Bernard Herrmann. Or, if you want to maximize the scariness of your score, be like this guy, Jörg Ligeti, who composed Atmospheres. Then you say, play all the notes in the staff, plus this one. You might recognize that from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which Kubrick used without his permission. So what makes this dissonance sound so disquieting? Well, it's because it's literally beating you up on the inside. When two sine waves are played with nearly the same frequency, beats are made. These beats can be heard by playing the same note on two instruments, with one slightly out of tune with the other. These beats are caused by the two sound waves being slightly out of sync. When the waves don't line up, they cancel each other out and get softer. And when they do line up, they constructively amplify. What you hear is a wah, 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 wah. But the more out of tune a note is, the faster those pulses will be. And you can actually get so far out of tune, you're a half step away. And those pulses are very fast, but still audible. For example, the notes E and F, which are just a half step apart. The human mind dislikes these beats because they confuse our flight or fight response and our perception of direction of the sound. When a person hears fewer than 3 beats of a second, the beats create a sense of motion back and forth across the head. However, when two pitches of a chord are far enough apart, like C and E, the beats caused by their frequency interference occur too frequently for the brain to interpret them as being related. So they're not heard as dissonant, but harmonious, in this case, a major third. But dissonance doesn't require two notes of a chord to be played at the same time. Just like we have persistence of vision, our auditory system also has an even more durable sense of persistence. It's called echoic memory. Once a stimulus is heard, it's stored in the primary auditory cortex so that it can be processed and understood. Echoic memory is like a holding tank where a sound is retained, unprocessed for a short period of time, about 3 to 4 seconds, until a following sound is heard, and only then can it be made meaningful. What this means is that you can play two pitches from a dissonant chord separately, and it can still elicit the same sense of foreboding anxiety as if the two notes have been played simultaneously. Hey, I just wrote a spooky soundtrack. You might recognize this little ditty. Or you can play those notes backwards. And you get Carmina Burana, O Fortuna, by Karl Orff. And now a toast to the 45,000-year-old Divje Babe flute, made from a cave bear femur by a Neanderthal, perhaps the first example of the use of a diatonic scale. Hear, hear. I'm Dan van Hoyel. Thank you